Yo, what's going on guys? Ian77 here. In today's video we're going to be using 2.6 but with a bit of a twist here. So in today's video we're going to be running 2.6 but actually has Earthquake in the deck over Fireball, and it does have Fire Spirit over Ice Spirit as well. So I feel like this deck has been really good recently actually. I've seen like quite a few people running it at the top of 5, and I've got quite a few requests to play it myself, and after playing it a bit I can say that I do like it quite a bit. At first I thought it would be like a bit of an unbalanced deck because like I felt like the Fireball was so good in 2.6, but actually I feel like it's actually pretty good with Earthquake too, and you can still have like good air defense and stuff with just like stacking your Musketeers. And even though Archer Queen is very strong right now, I feel like it's really good to have Musketeer as well, because you do have like the ability to stack more than one on the field at a time, whereas with Archer Queen you can only play just a single one on the field. So you definitely can beat air decks, and we're going to be against a Lava Hound deck right here, so will be a good test to see how well this deck is against air. And he's going to go for a minion horde here, but that's why Fire Spirit is just so good, because it pretty much just like destroyed that entire minion horde there. And it was nice to have the Ice Golem as well, just to kind of just like finish off those minions with like the Death Nova. And I think we will get the King activation here as well. I probably could have cycled like my log there to get to a Fire Spirit, but honestly didn't really feel like it, and I'm gonna be pretty okay still, because we're gonna take like the majority. Right? I mean, he's not gonna take like our full tower, but we took all of his tower, so we're in a pretty good spot right here. And I'm gonna catch that miner as well, so gonna be a little bit hard for him to take our tower. He's gonna at least have to make a whole another Lava Hound push here to take it, so we can like punish him with hogs and stuff if he tries to do that. So looking pretty good here. Just gonna stack a Musk here, and honestly it was a pretty good idea to play a Musk there. If we had went with the Hog Rider, it would have just like gone straight into the minion horde. So really good choice by us right there to go with the Musk first. And not even sure if we can defend here, but honestly won't really matter too much, because that Hog Rider just pretty much took his entire tower right there. And looks like the minions will actually lock onto our Musk, and unfortunately our Musketeer didn't lock onto the minions, and he's going to miner the back as well, so we aren't really able to protect our Musketeers super well here. But Fire Spirit should actually clean up the Lava Pups pretty nicely, and he's going to have to commit like a whole nother Lava push probably just to take our tower here. And I'm not even sure if he can, unless he at least gets like a good amount of miner chip on our tower or something like that. But I think this might be a good game right here. Yeah, pretty easy win against Lava here. Wasn't really expecting it to be so easy considering we don't have Fireball in this deck, but really nice win. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be facing Anaban, so really good players, so hopefully going to be a fun match here. And by the way guys, did you see the new balances that just dropped today, I think? Or yesterday, by the time this video is released. There are actually some pretty interesting balances that happen, and honestly, I know a lot of people are kind of complaining about it, but personally I kind of like them. Like, I think like some really old cards will be viable again. Like Elixir Collector hasn't been good for so long, and I know a lot of people find it to be a pretty toxic card, but honestly I kind of like it being strong. I mean, me being an EQ player, I have like a really good response to the Elixir Collector, but now that Elixir Collector does have like a death elixir, so like when it dies it will give 1 elixir after it dies, so that's actually really good for EQ players, because that means that the Elixir Collector will get like a better trade against the other spells, but it will still get a -1 trade overall against EQ, so it's going to be super nice to have EQ in the deck after the pump becomes good. And I think the balance changes will be released probably after the season end, and I think that the new champion, the Mega Miner, I think he is going to be released, I think at the time of this video, like by the time this video goes out, I think he's going to be released like within a few hours, or he may have already been released. So he seems like a really interesting champion to me. I don't really think he's like super OP, but it kind of depends like what deck you're facing, because it can be super good against some decks, but like if you have like guards in your deck or something, you can shut him down pretty easily, I feel like. So really just going to depend on what you're running, but you might need to adjust your decks a little bit to him if you're a player who faces champions a lot. And what do you guys think of the balance changes in general? Because I feel like they're they're pretty okay. Like, the main thing that they missed was the Skeleton King. Like, they could have definitely nerfed the Skeleton King, and also I would have liked to see a bit of a Royal Hogs nerf. Not that, like, I necessarily think Royal Hogs, like, really needed a nerf, but I feel like ever since the... Well, I mean, like, since the Valkyrie just got nerfed in these changes, I feel like the Royal Hogs could have used a nerf as well, because, yeah, sadly the Valkyrie did get a nerf recently. Not too happy about that, to be honest. I feel like Valkyrie was definitely strong, but at the same time it was kind of just used to keep the meta cards in check. But I'm sure a lot of you guys will actually be quite happy that Mega Knight did get a nerf. Honestly, I don't really think it was a justified nerf for the Mega Knight, but I know a lot of you guys really hate it, but if you look at its use rates and win rates and all of that, you can't really justify a nerf for it. But apparently they're trying to, like, balance the game for everyone right now, so they're not, like, just balancing it for top ladder players or competitive players as they used to. So I guess they will do those kind of random seeming changes sometimes, but not too sure how I feel about it. I feel like the Mega Knight probably got the biggest nerf out of any of the cards these changes, or like the biggest change, which honestly isn't really too good. I feel like it could have got like a small nerf, but I don't really think a big nerf was too justified. But anyways, I guess it will make a lot of you guys happier in mid ladder, because it's going to be quite a lot worse. Like the enter the arena ability won't even be killing like a set like Zappies or Magic Archer or Mother Witch anymore, so going to be quite noticeable, I think. And yeah, they did like do a couple nerfs as well, like a nerf to the Tombstone actually will be coming, and a few other things, but I feel like overall the meta might be a little bit similar. But yeah, that will be game here. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against Wallace, who is a very good player. Actually did have a best of 5 against him recently on his YouTube channel, so make sure to check him out if you're looking for some pretty high quality gameplay. He plays pretty much every deck, so you can probably find quite a few nice things on his channel. And he does have Bandit here, so we're going to be some type of bridge spam deck, and we're just going to get the nice King Tower activation right here. Always super good to do, and that's why I love playing like these decks like 2.6, because you can always do those super fancy interactions and get positive trades using your small cards very precisely. And by the way, guys, like, you might think that it's pretty bad having Ice Golem in this deck over like a Valkyrie like Hog EQ normally has, but I feel like it's actually quite good with Ice Golem too, because even though you might think it's a lot weaker against stuff like Royal Hogs and all of that, you can actually like do like a few tricks to get around that. You can even like surround, I mean not surround, but you can like go with like a cannon in the opposite lane and then push the Royal Hogs with a Fire Spirit or something, and you can fully counter them even if they like try to EQ your tower and the cannon, they won't be able to hit it. So you can still get around it, and honestly it's super nice having like the Ice Golem as a mini tank for your Hog Rider, because when you're running Hog EQ with Valkyrie, it's never really good to go with Hog Valkyrie at the bridge, because it's always like, I feel like way too much of an overcommitment to be spending 4 elixir on the tank, and you kind of need the Valkyrie on defense sometimes. So it is nice to have the cheap tank of the Ice Golem, also to like counter tornado decks. Like, I feel like the Ice Golem is super good against tornado decks, because it will always force them to spend like a lot more elixir than they might have liked to use at first. He's actually going to go for a Ram Rider here as well, so honestly a pretty bad Ram Rider right there, and he's going to zap as well, so I think he has like no elixir to defend that hog, but luckily for him double elixir will hit right as we punished him, but still going to get a ton of damage right here. And you can see, like, even without the fireball to like DPS down his queen and stuff, we're still able to defend super well just by activating our King Tower early. Like, that's the biggest thing, and just making sure that we space out cards pretty well. And this guy actually doesn't have lightning here, so gonna make it like quite a lot easier compared to him having the lightning in the deck. But I feel like even if he did have lightning in the deck, we probably still would have beat him, to be honest, like with this good of a start. Alright, so yeah, and by the way guys, like some other things in the update, like I think there are gonna be like something called I think it's like some mastery thing, like card mastery. Not really too sure how it's gonna work, but I think it's gonna be something like how quests used to be if you guys were playing the game at that time. So gonna be a little interesting way to get some rewards, and overall like what they're adding there. Alright, hoping in the next match here we're gonna be facing this guy. So This guy's a really crazy player. He goes with like giant graveyard first play. I'm actually going with Hog Rider plus log here, and what do you know, we hit the Skarmy. Because this guy pretty much like always will go for like the most predictable plays on you. Like, he's a giant graveyard player, I'm pretty sure, and they always go for like the most predictable possible plays. Like if you expect them to go for like a Skarmy on your Hog Rider, they're always gonna go for it. Like they're never gonna like try to wait for a second or anything like that. Like the thing that these giant graveyard players often do is that they're so predictable that they're unpredictable. I mean, they're not like unpredictable, but like you expect them to do something and they always do it, so you almost like don't want to predict it just in case that they decide like not to do it one time, and then you can kind of get messed up quite a bit. I'm actually kind of surprised we actually defended that so well. I was kind of expecting to take quite a bit of damage there, but pretty clean defense here. And honestly, Earthquake should help quite a bit against these graveyard decks. Like, Graveyard is super popular in the meta, and sometimes 2.6 does struggle against certain graveyard decks, but with Earthquake it should help quite a bit here. And Graveyard will actually get a small nerf as well, but only going to be like one less skeleton spawn for the Graveyard, so don't really see it being used much less than it currently is used. It will probably just like make Graveyard get like slightly less chip damage in certain scenarios, but not too much less. And we're actually going to misplace the cannon there, but it's still going to pull the giant. Wasn't really focusing too much, but I think this should be quite good for us still. And yeah, so Skeleton King is probably like the biggest card that should have been nerfed. Like, I don't know if like a lot of you guys play with champions or not, but like pretty much everyone can play champions at tournament level standard. So if you guys want to try out champions, you can just get in like a classic challenge or something and feel them out. But yeah, I feel like the champions are all quite OP, and Golden Knight is probably the only exception there. But Golden Knight is gonna get quite a nice buff in the next set of balance changes, like pretty much reverting the nerf that they gave him before, except he won't have like as quick of a ability cooldown. And also they did something like interesting with the Golden Knight to where you can't activate King Tower off of him anymore unless you do like a really weird line of troops leading to your King Tower or something, because they're like, so like how it works now is that when there's a Golden Knight, like he can no longer so like if a Golden Knight is on your tower, he won't be able to dash off of your tower. So if the Golden Knight is on your tower and there's like a troop going past it, the Golden Knight is just going to stay locked on your tower instead of going past your tower, which is quite nice actually for Golden Knight. Like one of the bigger issues with him is that he would always give opponents an easy King Tower activation if they had the reflexes to get it off in time. But yeah, quite nice that it's not going to happen anymore. I think he should be quite solid, and just trying to think what else is going to be changed. Oh yeah, also Mirror will get a pretty big buff actually. It doesn't really seem like much of a buff, but to be honest, having like 2 levels higher cards is actually quite OP. I feel like I saw Sir Tag mention on Twitter that he said so like at tournament level standard normally you have like level 11 cards, but now with the new mirror you're going to be able to have level 13 cards at tournament level standard, and a level 11 barbarian barrel won't even kill a level 13 goblin barrel. So you're going to have like a really good hard counter against barbarian barrel decks if you decide to run some mirror bait deck, which is pretty funny to be honest. And gonna be interesting to see how Mirror fares off with that change. I wasn't really expecting them to buff Mirror in that way, but I think it's gonna be probably a pretty big buff. I'm not really sure if it's gonna be enough to bring Mirror into the meta or anything, but I feel like we might start to see a few Mirror bait decks and stuff like that, just because I don't know, just 2 levels makes quite a big difference, I feel like. And alright, gonna have to focus right here to defend this push. Was kind of just rambling on, but you can see like how many skeletons these Skeleton Kings give off. I kind of wish they like reduced the amount of skeletons that a Skeleton King can spawn when it uses the ability, but overall, pretty good set of balance changes from me, and that will be GG. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this guy. So this guy is a very good minor rocket player, and I think he does actually have a YouTube channel of his own, so I'm just going to go with like a really aggressive Hog plus EQ there. But it's kind of just like hoping he wouldn't have a good cycle to counter it, because always good to get early damage in cycle mirror matchups. Not going to be an exact mirror matchup or anything, but when you're facing other cycle decks, it's usually good to be pretty aggressive, I feel like. Alright, and yeah, since I was like mainly covering the balance changes in the earlier game, just gonna talk about this deck a little bit and why I like it quite a bit. So I feel like the Fire Spirit kind of makes up for like the loss of the Fireball in this deck. Like the Fire Spirit gives like super good area control. Like you can always like even kill lava pups using the Fire Spirit, so it serves like quite a lot of use cases. And you could run Ice Spirit in this deck as well, because I know that Ice Spirit will actually be getting a buff in the next set of balance changes, which I'm actually pretty excited for, but I'm not even sure if it will be better than Fire Spirit still, because I feel like Fire Spirit is just so good right now in a lot of these cycle decks, so not really sure if Ice Spirit's going to be good enough to replace it, but I feel like Ice Spirit still will be quite strong with that 0.3 second 0.3 second freeze buff. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where Ice Spirit fits, because I know that like Ice Spirit already did have a longer stun than the other spirits before, but not really long enough to justify using it over most of the other spirits, except in like a couple decks, like sometimes Hog Rider or maybe sometimes Expo, but even Expo usually runs Electro Spirit now, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how the the Ice Spirit buff plays out. Alright, and by the way guys, like I really like this deck because it's also super good against like balloon decks even. Like you might think because you don't have like a Fireball it's not going to be very good against most of these air decks, but it's actually quite good against even balloon decks because you have like such a fast cycle that you can like cycle multiple cannons, and you can even activate your King Tower off of a balloon sometimes, so quite a versatile deck, and doesn't really struggle in too many matchups, to be honest, because even though you don't have like the 3-card cycle that a Queen can allow you to have, you do have just like such a cheap cycle besides that, so you still get back to like a ton of EQs, and you can pretty easily EQ cycle your opponents out and all of that good stuff. And yeah, honestly I'm quite happy that EQ didn't get a nerf, because I was kind of expecting it to get a nerf, and I think most people were expecting it to get a nerf, but I feel like EQ wouldn't even be like super strong if it weren't for the Royal Hogs being so strong, because I feel like Hog EQ is quite a strong deck right now, but I feel like it's not like insanely OP, so I feel like it would be balanced if the Royal Hogs weren't just like an absolute menace. And I know that Archer Queen is also probably a big reason why EQ is OP, because it gives you like the 3-card cycle while playing an Archer Queen on the board. You have like a quicker cycle, so you can get back to many more Earthquakes than you normally could. But yeah, honestly I'm quite happy it didn't get a nerf. I feel like it could have maybe used a bit of a nerf, but I'm gonna take the non-nerf, and I feel like if Archer Queen gets nerfed again, EQ will probably fall in its rightful place. And Archer Queen did get a small nerf, but honestly not really enough to really do too much. I feel like Archer Queen is still gonna be quite OP right now, because did just get like a slight nerf to where it won't be quite as quick at attacking during its ability stage, but I feel like probably won't really make too much of a difference, just because it's already just like so quick at attacking. And this will be game here, so thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!